Financial literacy is one of the biggest steps you can take towards achieving financial freedom. Especially as young people, we really need to try harder to understand how money works, how it's made, how it moves, how to make more of it, and most importantly, how to keep more of it. If you're much like myself, you probably never really got a talk from your parents about credit cards. You're most likely told to just stay away from them completely. Credit cards are evil, credit is the devil, it's out to get you, and you're going to be stuck in debt for a long time. You're going to always struggle to pay it back, right? Or even in a college classroom. I think back and I took more classes on astronomy and biology, stupid things that have no impact on my life now versus understanding credit through a small course. So that's why I made this video for that person who's watching who is most likely in a position that I was in about a year ago and is really struggling to understand how to grow their credit score. They've most likely never had a credit card before. You've most likely never got an understanding of how to increase your credit score, what kind of credit cards to get, all of those things. But no worries, because I'm here and I got you. From last year to this year, I was able to take my credit score from a 0, non-existent credit score to a 725 in the short span of 1 year. Right when I graduated college, I had no credit score. I had no credit history really. I've never had a credit card before. This is most likely the position you're in right now, or you're a college student who just wants to get an understanding of credit, maybe get themselves a little credit card. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you how to go through that process in a similar way that I went through. So the first thing I did was obviously find a credit card to get. At this point, it was about June of last year. I was doing my research day in and day out, checking out all these cards, looking at Discover, looking at Chase, looking at Capital One, seeing what everyone had to offer. To be honest, I was going for that little sign-in bonus when you first get a credit card. I was trying to get the most out of that as possible. So Chase had one that was for $200 on 2 of their cards, the Freedom Unlimited and the Freedom Flex. I remember Capital One, I think, had some, but I didn't really look too much into Capital One because their higher tier cards just didn't really catch my eye. They weren't very impressive to me like Chase's were. And there was also Discover, but Discover had no sign-on bonus, so that was like an immediate no. But the Discover is a great card that shouldn't be overlooked, especially for a beginner, someone without much of a credit history. So after doing my research, which I definitely suggest you do, check out all the cards that a beginner can apply for and you're more likely to get. There's also something that I suggest you that I didn't do is many of these credit card companies have a pre-approval tool where you can just put in your name and your social security, maybe your address, and they actually tell you if you'd be pre-approved for that card. And the benefit of it is it has no impact on your credit score. The credit checks actually impact your credit score negatively. They bring it down. I'm gonna get more into this later on in the video. For now, I just want to go through the steps that I went through so that you can follow them. After I was done with my research, I decided on the Chase Freedom Flex. It's a nice little card. It had a sign-on bonus of $200 if you spent, I think it was $600 or $300 within the first 3 months, and it looked great. I still have this card. It actually has cash back. You get 1% cash back on all purchases, and then cross-rotating categories, you can get 5%. Always changes every 3 months. You get a new category. For now, I think it's Amazon and Lowe's, you get 5% back. For dining, you get 3%. I think groceries is also 2%, around that area. Now, the most important thing when you first get a credit card and to keep in mind is that you're most likely not going to get the biggest, the most impressive, cashback rewards. It's going to be a beginner card that anyone can get, anyone can apply for, anyone can get approved for. So you're not going to get those really big rewards. There's also no annual fees, right? So a few beginner cards that I recommend you look into is the Discover It, Chase Freedom Flex, which I was able to get, and there's also some Capital One beginner cards. But I don't want to make the focal point of this video these specific credit cards, but more so the idea of credit and how to manage it as a young person who doesn't have a very high income, and how to pay in time, how to always make on-time payments, and how to be responsible with the credit that you receive. So with my first credit card, I received a credit limit of $500, which was most likely what you're gonna get when you first get your credit card. It's very low, so this is just a time period for the credit card company to see if you're responsible with your money. Because if you get that 500 and you go and blow it out right away, now you've used up your credit utilization, score has gone up a ton, now you're gonna struggle to pay it back. So they're just testing the waters with you, right? So it's very important to be responsible with this amount. If you get $500, what I recommend you do, keep your spending very low. I recommend spending less than 10% whatever you get. So let's say you get 500, I recommend spending less than $50 a month out of that 500. Now the mistake that I made is, because I was going after that bonus of spending 600 the first 3 months, I went and spent $300 in the first month. This jacks up my credit utilization score above, 50% at this point, and that completely tanked my credit score right off the bat. So I already started on a back foot, which was terrible. But the reason behind this is credit utilization is one of the most important factors when it comes to determining your credit score. Basically, credit utilization is what percentage of your total credit limit are you using. So the reason why I told you to only use up to $50 is because you want to keep it at around 10% or lower if possible. So 10% of 500 would be $50. Now, when I didn't follow this piece of advice that I wish someone told me, but no one did unfortunately, I tanked my credit score, and it was kind of a struggle to slowly bring it back up. But I learned my lesson. Next, when you first get your credit card, is to be very careful where you use it. Do not feel that you can go out shopping, spending a ton of money on, shoes, clothing, whatever it may be, and putting yourself in credit card debt over something that stupid. Because guys, believe it or not, credit debt is something that can follow you for the next 10, 15 years of your life. It can tank your credit score. It can make it very difficult for you to get actual loans when you need them for an apartment, or to get approved, for a house, if you want to get that, a car, whatever it may be. It's going to be a very, very difficult thing to kind of bring back up if you put yourself in that hole. And I know a ton of us younger people, once we see that cash, we like to go out there and spend it. We think we're getting free money. It is not free money. The bank is going to come after your ass. I'm not telling you this to scare you, because this is what my parents did to me, and it kept me from credit cards for a long time. But what I am saying is to be very careful. Spend a little bit, get your feet wet, understand, how credit works. Okay, this affects my score this way. Oh, if I go and pay this back right away, increases my score. Oh, I missed that payment. I was late by a day. I didn't see my due date. My credit score dropped. All right, let me get on top of that, right? But most importantly, don't put yourself in the hole. So how was I able to increase my credit score so drastically in such a short amount of time? It is by following these steps that I told you guys. As time went on, I got a better understanding of credit. Started spending very, very little. I would spend $30, $40, $50 a month. After 6 months went by and I was very, very responsible with my credit, I was able to increase my credit limit to $1,000. Now, when I saw this, I didn't go crazy. I increased my spending just by a tiny little bit. Now, my limit every month would be $100. In fact, I never even reached that limit that I set for myself. I mostly spent $50, $60 a month and pay it back right away. My credit utilization was always very low. It never went above 10%. And month after month, my credit score was rising 5, 10, 15 points sometimes, right? As I was building up that credit history. Because one of the most important factors is credit history. If you have a very short credit history, your credit score is obviously going to be low. It takes time to build it up. That's why I'm telling you it's better to start as early as possible. After watching this video, of course, it's going to give you a good understanding and a good basis of financial literacy for you to go out and get that credit card and be responsible with it. So by being very responsible with my credit card over this period of time, my credit score went from a mid to low 600s, which was like a basic score with no credit history attached to it, to now I have a 728. And this allowed me to go to Chase over this past weekend, talk to one of the tellers and get a new credit card. I was able to get the Chase Freedom Unlimited. The reason behind this is I wanted to get a higher credit limit so I can spend a little more. Now, I had gotten in my credit limit between my Chase card and a Best Buy card that I had gotten was $4,500. A new Chase card that I was able to get $6,000 on it. So now my total credit limit is $10,500. Now, what's the next steps for me? What's the plan? I plan to now use my credit cards as my daily drivers. Make all my daily purchases with credit cards because my credit limit is so high. And realistically, I'd never spend more than $1,000 a month. So $1,000 still puts me at less than 10% credit utilization. Now I can take advantage of the points, the cash back that I'm going to receive with Chase. And it works across both of my credit cards because they're both from Chase. So whatever I buy, those points are going to accumulate. Over time, I'm going to be able to take advantage of these bigger rewards, flight tickets, hotels, because my long-term plan is to then upgrade to the Chase Sapphire. These bigger Chase cards that give you more cash back, they come with an annual fee, but when you're a higher spender, when you spend more every single month, you're going to get more bang for your buck. You're going to get more rewards that are going to make it worth it. For now, spending is relatively low. I'm spending less than 10% my credit utilization, so I'm not going to get an insane amount of points, but continuing to to build up that credit history. Guys, it's important to remember that credit is not this evil thing that's going to come after you. It's not this thing that's going to destroy your life, that's going to keep you in debt forever. It's how you use it, right? It's not positive or negative. You want to take advantage of it. It's a system that's set. We're not going to change the credit system, right? So just be mindful of these factors that affect your credit score as you go through this journey. Quick reminders: credit history, credit utilization ratio, credit checks. Although the effect of these is minimal, payments, on-time payments. You want to make sure you're always paid on time, always pay before your due date, always pay your balance in full. You don't want to have a balance carrying on from month to month, because eventually interest is going to catch up to this and it's going to make it a very, very difficult time for you to pay it back. That being said, I hope I was able to help you guys get a better understanding of credit, be more financially responsible. Drop your questions down below, and I wish you luck on your credit journey. Thank you for watching.